Have you ever felt the unexpected hand of fate change everything in a single moment? Imagine Denzel Washington, an emblem of power and grace, seated in a chic restaurant when destiny delivers a life-altering encounter. In the next few minutes, you'll experience a story so raw and dramatic that it will grip your heart and stir your soul. Stay tuned until the very end, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss tomorrow's explosive new chapter. It was a cool, brisk evening in downtown Los Angeles. The city buzzed with energy as neon lights danced off sleek glass facades. But inside the Royal Oak, a refined restaurant known for its elegant ambience and gourmet delights, the atmosphere was intimate and serene. Denzel Washington, a man whose presence radiated decades of triumphs and unyielding strength, sat quietly at a corner table. His eyes, reflective and wise, scanned the room as he enjoyed a rare moment of solitude amid the clinking of silverware and soft murmurs of conversation. On this particular evening, Denzel had chosen the Royal Oak not for a glamorous event, but for a brief respite from the relentless pace of his storied life. His mind wandered between memories of cinematic glory and the weight of the expectations placed upon him by fans and critics alike. Yet, as the delicate strains of a live jazz trio filled the room, something unexpected was about to unfold, a twist of fate that would change the course of his night. Near the entrance of the restaurant, a young woman entered with hesitant steps. She was dressed modestly in a faded navy uniform and an apron that had seen better days. Her hair was pulled back neatly, and her eyes, though tired, shone with a quiet determination. She worked as a cleaning lady at the Royal Oak, a job that often left her unnoticed by the world of high society. But tonight, fate had other plans. Denzel's attention was caught by the subtle aura of sorrow that surrounded her. As she moved behind the gleaming counters and polished tables, her delicate features and the furrow of worry on her brow told a story of hardship and unseen burdens. Unable to ignore the quiet plea that seemed to emanate from her very being, Denzel left his table and approached her with gentle purpose. "Excuse me," he said softly, his voice carrying the weight of years and wisdom. The young woman looked up, startled by the unexpected kindness in his tone. Her eyes widened for a brief moment before she nodded, swallowing the emotion that threatened to overwhelm her. "I'm Denzel," he introduced himself with a modest smile, "and I couldn't help but notice you seemed troubled. Is everything all right?" Her voice, barely above a whisper, trembled as she responded, "My name is Rosa. I'm having a really hard time. I'm responsible for keeping this place pristine, but lately, life has been overwhelming. I'm facing eviction from the small apartment I call home because of mounting bills, and I'm scared I'll lose everything." In that instant, the clamor of the restaurant faded into a hushed silence as the gravity of her words struck Denzel like a chord. Moved by her vulnerability, Denzel gestured for her to sit down. "Please, Rosa, sit with me. Let's talk," he said, his eyes softening with genuine concern. The bustling restaurant seemed to slow down as they settled into a quiet corner away from the prying eyes of other diners. Here, in the dim glow of soft candlelight and the subtle notes of jazz, an unexpected connection began to blossom, a bond that transcended the gap between fame and anonymity. Rosa's story poured forth like a confession. She spoke of long, grueling shifts, the endless cycle of scrubbing floors and polishing surfaces, and a life filled with sacrifices that few ever noticed. Despite her unwavering dedication, life's relentless hardships had forced her to confront a dire reality. If nothing changed soon, she would lose not only her modest apartment, but the dignity that came from having a place to call home. Denzel listened intently, every line on his face deepening with empathy. In that moment, he recognized the silent struggles that so many endured, stories that were often left untold behind the gleaming facades of success. "Rosa," he said quietly, "life has a way of testing us, but it also gives us a chance to rise. I want to help you because no one should be forced to face such hardship alone." As the evening deepened into night, their conversation unfolded like a tapestry woven with threads of sorrow, hope, and the promise of change. The restaurant, once just a backdrop for a routine dinner, transformed into a sanctuary where two very different lives intertwined. Denzel's heartfelt words and Rose's tearful confessions echoed against the walls of the Royal Oak, creating a moment of raw, unfiltered humanity that neither would ever forget. The encounter, as fleeting as it might have seemed, was destined to mark the beginning of a journey that would challenge both their worlds. In that intimate space, illuminated by the soft glow of candlelight and punctuated by the gentle clink of cutlery, Denzel Washington vowed to do whatever he could to help Rosa overcome her plight. His resolve, hardened by years in the unforgiving crucible of fame and hardship, now shone with a tender light, a beacon of hope in the darkness of adversity. Scene 2. The struggle and the secret mission. In the days following that transformative evening, Denzel found himself unable to shake the memory of Rose's plaintive eyes and the desperate tone of her voice. The encounter had stirred something deep within him, a call to action that transcended his usual role as a Hollywood icon. Determined to honor the silent plea for help, he discreetly began to investigate ways to support Rosa without drawing unwanted attention. Denzel reached out to trusted friends in the community, people whose integrity and compassion had always been a part of his life. Over hushed phone calls and clandestine meetings in quiet cafes, he gathered resources and formulated a plan to help Rosa get back on her feet. His heart was heavy with the realization that so many in the shadows of society suffered in silence, and he resolved that her struggle would not go unnoticed. Late one rainy afternoon, as water cascaded down the windows of his sleek Los Angeles apartment, Denzel sat at his desk, poring over documents and contacting local charities. The soft hum of the rain outside was interwoven with his quiet determination. With every passing moment, he felt the weight of responsibility grow. This was not just about one person, but a statement that compassion could triumph over indifference. Meanwhile, Rosa's life was spiraling. The bills mounted relentlessly, and whispers of eviction began circulating among her friends. The once familiar routine of her work had become a constant reminder of her vulnerability. Every day, as she cleaned the gleaming surfaces of the restaurant, she silently prayed for a miracle that could restore the balance in her life. The stress etched lines of worry into her delicate features, and her eyes, once bright with quiet resolve, now shimmered with the fear of imminent loss. Unbeknownst to Rosa, Denzel had orchestrated a secret mission. He collaborated with a local housing charity and a group of kind-hearted individuals who believed that everyone deserved a chance at dignity. In the dead of night, when the city lay silent under a blanket of stars, arrangements were made to secure Rosa a new, safe apartment. The plan was meticulously crafted, discreet, efficient, and filled with the genuine hope of transforming her dire situation into a fresh start. One particularly poignant evening, Denzel visited the charity center to finalize the details. The room was filled with soft chatter and the rustling of papers, but for Denzel, every sound was a reminder of the lives that hung in the balance. His presence, calm yet resolute, inspired those around him. He shared Rosa's story with unwavering passion, emphasizing that her struggle was not merely a personal crisis, but a reflection of a broader social challenge. His words, measured and heartfelt, resonated deeply with everyone present. Back at the Royal Oak, Rosa's days took on a surreal quality. Every time she wiped down a table or mopped the floor, she couldn't help but wonder if her fate was sealed. The shadow of eviction loomed large, and every glance at the eviction notice left in the break room filled her with dread. Yet, amid the crushing uncertainty, there lingered a fragile hope. A hope that was nurtured by the secret kindness of a stranger she had once spoken to only in hushed tones. Late one evening, as Rosa closed up for the night, she found an envelope tucked under her locker, a small, unassuming package that seemed out of place. With trembling hands, she opened it to discover a letter written in a neat, deliberate hand. The letter spoke of new beginnings, of a future where the darkness of hardship would give way to the light of opportunity. It detailed arrangements for a new apartment and provided contact information for support services, all orchestrated by someone who believed in second chances. Rosa's heart swelled with disbelief and cautious joy. The letter was a lifeline, a secret miracle delivered quietly in the midst of her despair. In that moment, the relentless burden of her worries seemed to lift ever so slightly, replaced by the possibility of renewal. She clutched the letter close, tears of gratitude streaming down her face as the sound of the city's nighttime bustle blended with the quiet promise of a better tomorrow. For Denzel, the success of his secret mission was not just a victory over bureaucracy or indifference. It was a reaffirmation of his belief that compassion and action could indeed alter the course of lives. He continued to work behind the scenes, ensuring that every detail was attended to, every need was met, and that Rosa's transition was as smooth as possible. His nights were long and filled with quiet resolve, as he balanced the demands of his public life with a private commitment to make a difference for someone who had touched his heart. Scene 3. The dawn of a new beginning. The turning point arrived on a bright, hopeful morning when the first rays of sunlight pierced the clouds over Los Angeles. The transformation that had begun in secrecy was now ready to unfold in the open. Denzel, with his trademark dignity and unwavering determination, arranged a private meeting at the Royal Oak, a place that had become the silent witness to Rosa's struggle and the genesis of her redemption. At the restaurant, now bathed in the gentle glow of morning light, Denzel invited Rosa to join him once again. The ambience was different this time. Where before there had been quiet sorrow, now there was a sense of anticipation and renewal. As Rosa entered, her eyes shone with a tentative hope. The hardships of the past weeks had not vanished completely, but the promise of a new beginning was palpable in every gesture and every shared smile. Seated at the same familiar table, Denzel and Rosa revisited the memories of their first meeting. With a calm sincerity that resonated through the room, Denzel explained how he had worked tirelessly behind the scenes to secure her a safe place to live and the support she needed to rebuild her life. Rosa listened, her voice quivering with emotion as she recounted how the mysterious envelope and the heartfelt letter had changed her world. As they spoke, the restaurant seemed to come alive with the energy of possibility. Other patrons, drawn by the quiet aura of hope, watched with curiosity as the unlikely pair shared their stories. In that moment, Denzel's words transcended the ordinary. They became a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Every challenge we face, he said, teaches us that our true strength lies not in what we have, but in what we give. Our compassion, our time, and our unwavering belief that a better future is possible. Rosa, overcome with emotion, thanked Denzel repeatedly. Her gratitude was not just for the tangible help he had provided, but for the affirmation that she was seen, that her struggle mattered. The air was thick with a sense of shared victory, a quiet celebration of life's capacity for renewal even after the deepest despair. In the weeks that followed, Rosa's life began to blossom in ways she had never imagined. With the support of the charity and the quiet stewardship of Denzel, she moved into a modest but cozy apartment where she could finally start to dream again. She found work opportunities that allowed her to use her skills in new ways and even began to take evening classes to further her education. The challenges were still there, but the overwhelming darkness had lifted, replaced by a glimmer of hope that promised a brighter future. Denzel, meanwhile, continued his own journey, a journey that now included a mission of giving back. Inspired by the transformation he had witnessed in Rosa, he initiated several community outreach programs aimed at supporting those who lived in the shadows of society. His efforts, though discreet, sparked conversations about the importance of empathy and the power of human connection, reminding everyone that even icons could be catalysts for real, positive change. One crisp morning, as the city awakened to a new day, Denzel and Rosa met one last time at the Royal Oak. Over a quiet breakfast, they reflected on the journey that had brought them together, a journey marked by struggle, hope, and the belief that every life can be transformed by an act of kindness. In that heartfelt moment, as the warm light of the sun bathed them in its glow, it was clear that the future held infinite possibilities, a future built not on the weight of past hardships, but on the promise of new beginnings. With a final smile and a shared nod of understanding, they parted ways, each forever changed by the serendipitous encounter that had proven that even in a world filled with challenges, the light of compassion can guide us toward a better tomorrow.